Guys, in this video, I wanted to give you kind of an introduction to the Nashville Numbers system. I know a lot of people have asked me about, or at least indicated that they want to learn how to do it, but they're confused. They're confused how it works. And actually, the number system is not that difficult to learn with some basic theory knowledge. Basically, what we're doing is we're taking numbers and substituting it in the place of letters. So for example, most of the time when you play and you read a chord chart, if you're in the key of C, you are reading, you'll see a C, you'll see an F, you'll see a G, and you'll see a variety of other chords. And so instead of thinking of it in terms of letters, we think of it in terms of numbers, 1, 4, 5. And you may be asking, well, why do you do that? Well, the reason for that is it's a lot easier to transpose on the fly when you think of it in terms of numbers instead of letters. This kind of came about in Nashville, where studio musicians and session players needed to change the keys of songs when they recorded without having to take the time to chart a new lead sheet or chord chart. Just imagine, if you were playing a song, you're like, well, this doesn't quite work. I need a new key, and then you try it and that, I need a new key, having to have all those different charts. Versus just having one chart with numbers, and then all those numbers relate to certain chords within a given key. So what I want to do is give you just a basic kind of run through of what it is, and then an easy exercise that you can use to learn. Instead of having to learn like all the chords and all the numbers in a specific key, it's best to kind of start small. And the easiest way to do that is to start with the 1, 4, and 5. Now, for instance, I'm going to give you the key of C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it starts over. So in any major scale or major key, you're going to have 7 scale degrees. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then it starts over. And each one of those, you have a chord based off of it. So we're in the key of C, so C is going to be the 1. So there's our 1. And then if I go up to the 4, so C, you always count the one that you're starting on. C, D, E, F would be the same thing as 1, 2, 3, 4. The F chord is going to be the 4, and then if I move up again to the G, that's going to be the 5. So again, you got C, which is 1, F is 4, G is 5, and then back to C, which is 1. Now, what's nice about that is if you can grasp that and you know your chords in the key of C, you can transpose that to a new key. So for instance, if instead of C, I went to G. Now because I'm in the key of G, C is no longer the 1, okay? You got to remember, what key are you in? If I'm in the key of G, G is now the 1. And then I count up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. C is now 4. And then D is 5. So I've got the 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, back to the 1 in the key of G. So let's go backwards back to the key of C. In the key of C, C is the 1. So hopefully that doesn't confuse you. C is the 1, F is 4, G is 5, and back to 1. But if I say I change keys and go to the key of G, now G is 1, C is 4, D is 5, and G is 1. Let's take it to a different key. Let's say the key of D major. D now is going to be 1. If we go up 4, G now is 4. So as you can see, G could be a 1, it could be a 4, it could be a 5, all depending on what key you're in. That's the thing you have to remember. So in the key of D, D is 1, G is 4, A is 5, and then back to D. So that's just a general idea. And again, the 1, 4, and 5 are all major chords. When you move to the 2, 3, and 6, those are going to be minor chords, and we'll cover that in a different video. But what I wanted to do is give you a basic exercise that will take you through 6 different keys. If you're familiar with the circle of fifths, that's the way I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be moving clockwise, or clockwise for you watching, around the circle of fifths. So I'm going to be in the key of C first, and then I'm going to go to the key of G. Then I'm going to go to the key of D, then the key of A, then the key of E, and then finally the key of B. And that's where I'm going to stop for now, because those are all most of the white keys, and those are going to be a whole lot easier for you to play than, say, all of the black keys, G flat, D flat, A flat, those sorts of things. We'll save that for another video. But what I'm going to do on my phone here, I've got just a basic metronome that I'm going to turn on, and I'm going to play in the key of C for just a couple of times, and then I'm going to go to the key of G, and then I'm going to go to the key of D and move around. So what I'm going to do is, like in the key of C, I'm actually going to start off on the 4, and that's going to be a 4, 1, 5 chord progression. So in the key of C, we'll have F, C, and G. And then I'll repeat, F, C, and G. Again, that's going to be 4, 1, 5. More time, 4, 1, 5. But then I'm going to change to the key of G, and I'm going to start the progression over again. So in the key of G, the 4 would be what? C. So now I'll go C, G, D. That's the 5. C, G, D. 4, 1, 5. Now I'm going to go to the key of D. So G is 4, so G, D, A, and move on until we get all the way through the key of B. So this is just going to be a basic exercise. I've got my metronome set to 120 beats per minute, and we'll start off again starting on the 4. We're not starting on the 1 in the key of C. So in the key of C, here's C major. I'm going to start off on F, and then go to C and G, do that for a few times, and then change keys. So it looks something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 1, 5. Again, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 5. Now we're going to the key of G, so I'm going to go to the 4. 4, 1, and 5. Again, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 5. Try to think of it in terms of numbers. Going to the key of D, 4, 1, 5. Again, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 5. Now going to the key of A. Here's the 4, and 4, 1, 5. Again, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 5. Again, and 4, 1, and 5. We'll do that one more time, same key, and 4, 1, and 5. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too overwhelming. Now you may be asking, what chords am I playing? I'm just playing the 4, the 1, and the 5 in each key. Now you don't have to do the same inversions that I'm doing as long as you do the same chord. So I was just trying to find what is the closest. So as you can see, whenever, like in the key of C, we play the 4, which is F, C, and then the 5, which is G. But notice when I go to the key of G, the C, which was 1 in the key of C, now becomes the 4 in the key of G. So I just go back to that same chord that I've already played, same chord again on G, but then I add the new chord in the key, which is going to be the 5, and I go to D. So if I was going to the key of D, I'm going to go back to the same chord that I had on the G, back to the same chord on D, but now I'm going to introduce the new chord, which is the 5, which is A. And so on, and I move on around. So again, we're moving around the circle of fifths. We're going from C, G, D, A, E, and then we land on E. We're not going to go into B because you start getting into an F sharp chord, and I want to save that for a different video. But hopefully that gives you a little bit of an exercise that you can use. Again, I'm just setting my metronome to 120 beats per minute. If you need to slow it down, do that. Slow it down to 100 beats per minute. And make sure you practice with the metronome and continue to think about the chords in terms of numbers, that you know when you're playing that chord, this is a 4 chord, this is a 1 chord, this is a 5 chord. Then you go to a new key. Think of it, okay, I'm in a new key, but I'm playing the 4, 1, 5. Again, this is a basic chord progression, and we'll get into more of minor chords and things like that. But as always, if you've got any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Send me an email, ryan@worshipartistry.com. Hope you guys have a great day.